My name is Gradius, and a great man named Karl von Clausewitz said that in war, more than anywhere else, things do not turn out as we expect. Join me as we discover the lessons to be learned in the weird, odd, and sometimes crazy military engagements in unusual battles of history. Today's topic is not a battle, but an incident that occurred during World War I and shows that even during a time of great strife, there shines a light of decency and goodwill between foes. World War I broke out on June 29, 1914, when Serbian revolutionaries assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Germany, along with Austria and Italy, struck against the British, French, and Russians. The Germans made significant headway against the French before being stopped at the Battle of the Marne. Seeing that the advance had stalemated, the fighting devolved into trench warfare, with both sides fortifying the ground that they were on and waiting for the other side to make the first move. In some areas, trenches were only 30 yards apart, which allowed soldiers from both sides to shout at each other. This pattern of waiting and fortifying would continue for several months and even into winter. Come December 1914, both sides were suffering from low morale due to the cold and snow, rampant diseases such as trench foot, terrible conditions in the trenches, and the rats. So many rats. The first signs of a truce came on December 24th. Now, Britain and France celebrate Christmas mostly on the 25th, on Christmas Day, while the Germans placed most of their festivities on the 24th. It came as no surprise when, on Christmas Eve, the Germans were heard singing Christmas carols and even placing some small Christmas trees in the trenches. On Christmas Day, the British, in their trenches, heard the singing and took an interest. It started with singing, and then it evolved into soldiers shouting greetings and pleasantries, and then, finally, and slowly, one or two soldiers from both sides emerged from their trenches and would meet in the middle of no man's land and shake hands. This would cause a general feeling across the line as whole units emerged from both sides to greet each other in a sort of Christmas spirit. Pictures were taken, food exchanged, letters to home were read, some German soldiers produced beer, which was drunk, and stories were told between soldiers who, the day before, were sworn enemies. It is uncertain whether or not the famed football match happened. Some people who doubt it happened point to soldiers' letters that mention that they would have liked to have played football. But there is considerable evidence that a game did happen, and supposedly the Germans won 3-2. Some soldiers, however, did not celebrate, and instead took the time to remove the bodies of their comrades from no man's land and give them a proper burial. While this merriment between soldiers was happening, word got to the Allied generals of what was occurring. This caused an uproar, as the truce was seen by the generals as an end to hostilities, and the soldiers might possibly mutiny against them and the war. The generals issued orders that any officer seen fraternizing with the enemy would be demoted and punished. Despite the orders of the Allied generals, however, the truce continued. All was not peaceful, however. In some areas of the front line, the truce was broken by both sides, who continued to shoot at each other. What is interesting to note is that in some places the truce was so strong that both sides refused to shoot at each other until early January. Some units were even replaced by others who weren't there for the truce just so the fighting would continue. The truce was not limited to just one single part of the front line. It was taken up by many different parts of the front that made up the line from the Netherlands all the way to Switzerland. While the truce wasn't completely followed by all soldiers, it remains as a testament to goodwill that can be shown by humanity. Overall public opinion towards the truce was positive. It showed that even in war, people can come together for a brief moment to share in peace and joy. Now, you are probably wondering why I've chosen a topic that isn't a battle. There are two reasons. The first is that I actually have a relative who was there for the Christmas truce. He was my great-granddad Baker, in other words, my granddad's dad. He not only participated in the truce, but he actually survived the war to tell about it when he got sent home after getting mustard gassed. He died when my granddad was 15, so this video is partly in memory for him. The other reason is that this Christmas of 2014 is the 100th anniversary of the event. Now, I'm aware that there are no more World War I veterans left in the world, but I do have a request for everyone listening. Please, if you know anyone who fought in any war, please tell them thank you, because they were willing to sacrifice everything for you to be where you are today. This has been another unusual battle in history. Thank you for watching.